Ahoy there, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn, the premier Simpsons and One Piece podcast, now in our 51st episode that we were totally prepared for and are recording on the night that we had expected to and initially planned to, and that's definitely why it is just Janine and I here. I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes they, them, and I'm tired, dog. And I'm joined by my wonderful, beautiful, and sapphic co-host. Hey, that's three things for you, Janine.
Hi everybody, I'm Janine Juliet, my pronouns are she, they, and I don't have a third thing to say, but if I did, I probably would say something like, Luke has a tendency to lie in the first 20 seconds of a podcast.
I think it's obvious that I was being facetious. We had initially planned to have a guest, and then normally we've been recording with a space of like 2 weeks, and then we just kind of forgot about our recording, and my wife was like, hey, I hope you have fun recording tonight. And then our guest was like, hey, are you ready to record? And then I messaged Dean, was like, hey, did you remember that we were going to record tonight? And you were like, oh fuck. And I was like, oh fuck. And so our guest will be on for a future episode when we cover the first of the One Piece movies with tie-in episodes that will be in December, assuming nothing else comes up.
We apologize that we made you watch the Simpsons movie.
And also some very strange One Piece to come in on. But if you do want to see Sam, Janine, and I interacting, we did a Pokemon podcast years ago. That's pretty good. You can find that on Established Property Playhouse. But we aren't here to
I was gonna comment that, like, looking at the episodes of One Piece, there have been worse episodes for someone to come in on.
Oh yeah, no. Jay was actively uninterested in watching more of the show after the Boss Luffy episodes.
We found it. The worst place to bring someone in for the first time. That's the second thing that this podcast does.
We find the worst things possible. These episodes initially ran between June 10th and July 22nd of the year 2007. And I also need to admit, Janine, I did a cheat here because I believe the Simpsons movie the Simpsons movie released on the 27th, which was in the following week. So technically we wouldn't be able to cover the movie until the next episode, but my kind of thought was, well, we can get this and a bunch of episodes because the next season's going to start with the next one, and I felt like it worked well enough. So that's my confession, part one. These are my confessions. I lied about when the Simpsons movie came out based on the organization of the show. I'm excited to see what the other parts of my confessions are, dog.
Well, knowing what happens in the originals, I could only imagine where yours could be able to go vis-a-vis One Piece and Simpsons.
I traveled back in time and I killed the Pope, which was technically a heresy. Yeah, so also somewhere between when I watched this movie while eating too much Fazoli's that I got delivered, just to paint a picture of what my Friday night was like with my wife out of town. I apparently deleted the entire summary, so I had to do another summary from memory. And the Simpsons movie, if you haven't seen it, is about Grandpa having a vision of destruction that comes true when Homer ignores Marge's multiple warnings and the town's efforts to clean up the environment and causes a major disaster that leads to the president covering all of Springfield up in a massive dome, When Homer is found out to be the cause, the family is chased from the dome and moves to Alaska until the family discovers that Springfield is set to be destroyed. And while the rest of the family leaves to help, Homer goes on a vision quest, discovers empathy, and is able to save his family from the overzealous government and prevent the town from being destroyed while also working on his relationship with Bart. And then Lisa has like a weird kind of D plot where she meets a cute boy, and it's kind of underdeveloped overall.
It does. Hmm. That
The
that I don't hate it.
I don't either, but like Colin never returns except for like a cameo that we're going to see in the first episode of the next season, I believe. And then one other flashback. And also Colin isn't voiced by like a special actor or anything.
Yeah, like they could have really
Done a
had.
stunt cast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Was there any other actors, like Irish actors, that were really like Irish and noteworthy in
no,
2007?
I feel like it was just about the Bono jokes.
Colin Farrell, but he's already named Colin, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you could do that.
You can't do a double Colin. I'm Colin Cullen, the most Irish boy ever.
What Irish actor would you have cast Colin as in 2007?
I mean, honestly, I think you probably could have just gotten away with like, oh, hey, we got Rupert Grint, or I don't think Rupert Grint is Irish, but like, you could have probably cast a Harry Potter actor in that role, and everyone would be like, oh yeah, I love that Harry Potter actor.
To be honest, the kid didn't even have to be Irish. He was
No,
for just that one Bono joke.
uh huh, yeah. Uh, do you know the interesting thing about Russ Cargill?
I don't I don't I you frame the question like that, it already makes me want to know because
That's
I can't
that's
think
what
of anything interesting.
That's how I'm bringing the hook in. You are hooked, you are baited. I'm going to reel you in. Russ Cargill was initially debated to be another Albert Brooks character, Hank Scorpio. Like, this was going to be Hank Scorpio's return to The Simpsons in the role of the megalomaniacal EPA leader. But are you ready for the second interesting thing about Russ Cargill?
Sure.
They did not solidify his design until they had started doing licensing deals. And so the Russ Cargill Burger King toy is a different design than the final Russ Cargill we see in the movie.
Huh.
Uh huh.
So there's a
Where
proto Russ Cargill?
there is. He looks more nerdy in a way. He was supposed to be less of a kind of extreme businessman going into the role. But they didn't have it solidified, and then Burger King had already paid for the toys.
Well, Burger King get what Burger King want. They
Hmm.
have it their way.
Yeah. I remember seeing the movie, and I was kind of like, when it came out. But we also got so much stuff with Spider Pig. Like, do you remember how much they pushed that Spider Pig joke?
I I remember there would just be like the shortest ever fucking ads, and there would be like just some things like that they would tell you like when it would come out, and the only voice clip that you would hear would be that fucking spider pig.
Yeah. Like, it is a shame when your only joke that you're using is the fucking pig. And I mean, Plopper the pig is all right for a pig, but I don't think it like qualifies for an entire media campaign. Plopper does, unlike Colin, make more than one recurring appearance in The Simpsons.
Well, Popper at that point had a lot more coverage.
Yeah, no one
But
was. No one wanted Colin in the advertising campaign. No one's promoting Colin.
I think it was just pretty much the idea that, like, you can't give too much of this movie away, and a lot of these jokes are interconnected with the story or
Hmm.
so one-off that you don't, you know, that's hard to connect to anything, so the best thing you should be able to do is find, like, just the funny moments that you can be able to see outside of it, and it just happens to be the pig.
They didn't want to do Green Day Dies in Lake Springfield.
Man, that would have worked, though. Like, even just showing Green Day in 2007,
Hmm.
like, as Simpsons characters, like, fucking that and they
Yeah,
die
it.
really fast, too.
Hmm. Um, yeah, overall, the movie is still just kind of fine. It moves fast, which is a compliment. Like, there isn't a lot of, oh, this scene is lasting too long. There's just not enough where I'm like, oh, hey, that's a funny bit for it. Which, considering this was their, hey, yeah, let's go and make a movie, you kind of want something that sticks with you more.
I found the animation of it very interesting,
Hmm.
um, because it definitely felt like they played around with a lot of the 2D, 3D elements,
Hmm.
and, in some places, like the wrecking ball, um, it really works. I think the joke kind of goes by a little bit too far with the rock and a hard place.
Hmm. Oh, that's one that they also like used in commercials, like in the trailer, I believe.
Yeah, I think that one is very much divorced from storage. You could be able to make it.
Hmm.
Um, I
Yeah,
think, hmm, I don't know. I don't know enough about animation to like really be an expert on it, but like watch this movie if you're into animation, you'll know what I mean.
yeah.
It kind of feels a little bit flash animation at some points, but like, you know, I guess the best elements of it, I don't know. Like, again, I'm not an animator. I just know a lot of nerds that are into animation. So like I just get things from cultural osmosis, and it infects me with an eye that when I look at animated things, like I have to end up looking at it again because it's like, okay, now that I saw everything for the plot, I got to see things for like the technicality.
Hmm.
Knowing
My
about art is
mind.
a curse. Don't
Oh,
learn anything about art.
I mean, you should learn about art, and you should try and make things that, even if they aren't amazing, kind of like give you a sense of accomplishment. My mind just at one point in there just kind of went to thinking about Osmosis Jones, which had the spin-off Ozzy and Tricks.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. And that awakens some stuff. What if we all have a tiny pill voiced by a man who sounds like David Hyde Pierce? New characters we can use now include President Arnold Schwarzenegger, the members of Green Day, Stick Up Walrus, Mutant Squirrel, Conjoined Wives, Sled Dogs, Little Fox, and General Marriott Suites, along with many others. The General Marriott Suites bit was something that also actually landed very well for me.
I love that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I I gotta say, can we talk about Schwarzenegger?
Uh huh. Oh, the fact that like they totally misrepresent that Schwarzenegger has actually been a very fair and even-handed politician who is not swept up in the horrible Republican zeitgeist and is willing to fight for the rights of every man because he is a real American, even though he immigrated from the country. And while we should not change the Constitution to make him a legally eligible candidate for president, he has done a good job serving all of his people, even if they don't necessarily agree with his personal views.
I was thinking more about the idea that it's just basically just Rainier Wolfcastle.
Okay, yeah. The not political thing, yeah. Uh, yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah, no, it's literally just Rainier Wolfcastle.
and it's so weird too because like, I didn't as much as I kind of like to try to look through a lot of the pan over shots that they love doing in this movie to show you how many people are in Springfield.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't see Rainier Wolfcastle there, and I was just like, so like, do it that you just gotta make sure that these guys are separate now. Also, like, you could have gotten a person that does a better Arnold Schwarzenegger voice instead of just having to just like fall back on the guy that does your knockoff Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
Or you could have got Schwarzenegger. I mean, it's 2007. The guy might have been inside of politics right now, but he still went back and did Terminator 3. That was 2009, 2008, somewhere around
I
there.
think
When was Terminator 3 Rise of the
that
Machines?
was 2003, dog.
Damn.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
early the early 2000s.
Hmm. Let's see. Just because we want to know, I do love that the Google results for Arnold Schwarzenegger just bring up former politician or former California politician. Uh, film. There we go. Filmography. Because he did take a long break from politics, so the last movie that he had been in was a cameo in the 2004 Around the World in 80 Days, apparently. But he would appear in 2010 in his next full movie in The Expendables. So this was during his, like, I'm actually a politician era.
Ah.
Hmm. So, getting onto the One Piece side of things, the episodes we are covering this week are episodes 313 through 319, and these include The Disturbance of Peace, the Vice Admiral with the Fist of Love.
The strongest family lineage? Luffy's father revealed.
Its name is the New World, the whereabouts of the great Grand Line.
Shanks moves! Ceremony of the rampaging age.
The girl searching for the Yagara, great investigation in the water metropolis.
The mother is strong. Zoro slapstick housework. Help.
Sanji crashes, the mysterious old man, and intense cooking. And yeah, these episodes kind of fall into two categories: lore dump, and also uh canon or non-canonical filler. So
Which is
we
kind of a weird combination, too. Like, things that are so relevant to the story you have to pay attention and cannot skip. And also, nonsense.
uh-huh. You don't want to see Zoro doing a babysitting adventure?
He did do the Mr. Nanny thing
Mm-hmm.
pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm. 2 days after the events of Ennis Lobby, the city of Water 7 is working on recovering from the Aqua Laguna, with the Galela dock workers fixing the town while the Frankie family works on rebuilding their home, the Frankie House, and Iceberg, planning for the future, plans to convert the entire island into a ship. Which, good on you. Kashi and Oimo, the giants, meanwhile, plan to head back to Elbaf once they're done with helping to rebuild, and they invite Usopp along with them. And we also find out that Luffy has been fast asleep since they returned, which has not stopped him from eating.
I feel like I could do this, but it's got to be like in the right conditions.
And it's got to be the right food. Like,
Like I couldn't be like pick up a bone and then like bone in meat thing and
yeah,
then
and then
just like
like pull the
immediately
bone
start
out of your.
working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like soup or nachos would be hard.
Oh yeah.
Or soup nachos.
A real thing.
Mm-hmm. Nami, meanwhile, remembers that they are all still stuck because they don't have a ship or money, but the townspeople return what they had stolen from the pirates back when they were fugitives. Like, I do appreciate that they're kind of like, oh, yeah, hey, here's all these things that happened, and boy, do we all feel silly. Frankie comes to visit the pirates and tells them about the Jewel Tree Adam, whose wood he purchased on the black market with the money that he stole from the pirates, and the wood is the same ship that was used to make the Oro Jackson, which is Goldie Roger's ship. And he wants to use that wood to build a ship of dreams that he will give to the Straw Hats.
It's
Good.
it's a good way to wrap up like the fact that they don't have a ship into what Frankie's got going on.
Mm-hmm. Zoro sees a marine ship arrive and goes to try and warn Luffy, but he immediately gets lost, and it is amazing every time. And he does not get to warn them that Vice Admiral Garp appears, and he goes to track down the Straw Hats, breaks into the room they're staying in, and then wakes Luffy up with the Fist of Love, revealing that he is Luffy's grandpa. And Janine, I am sorry that Netflix spoiled that for you.
I feel like it definitely did that in order to tell a particular story,
Yeah,
and while it didn't have that same effect of surprise on me, I still was able to appreciate and laugh at the expression of surprise that literally every fucking person else has because nobody else knew it.
yeah. Like, it is such a well delivered bit, and Netflix is sort of, we need a season antagonist, did cause that sacrifice to be made. Meanwhile, Michael and Hoichael try to threaten Zoro, who is unfazed. Did you remember Michael and Hoichael, Janine?
I don't.
So when the first assassin when the first assassination attempt happened on Iceberg, a few members of the Galley Law Company thought that it might have been Michael and Hoichael. They were just a throwaway bit, and then someone was like, "Hey, who are Michael and Hoichael?" And it was like, "Oh yeah, I did make a joke about them," and drew their fucking designs. And then in the manga, they show up for like one panel, and then they're gone forever. But Michael and Hoichael are two great names. It's a phrase that you can say to make you feel better. Michael and Hoichael.
Michael and Hoichel.
Michael and Hoichael.
Michael and Hoichel.
Michael and Hoichael.
And then we stop right now so you can be able to say it too.
No, you. It's Michael and Hoichael.
Hoichel.
Hoichael. Okay, that's better. We gotta move on. But thank you for playing along at home. Except for you. I know you didn't say it. What? you didn't want to be judged driving in your car by yourself or vacuuming the house or turning this on during passionate lovemaking. Nothing is more erotic and brings your partner to climax like saying Michael and Michael.
I know
Oh,
I'm halfway there right now.
welcome to our Smooth Jams album. Michael and Hoichael. Michael and Hoichael. Michael and Hoichael. Come now. Luffy warns the rest of the crew not to fight, and they get to talking about how Garp had wanted Luffy to join the Navy, and he blames Shanks for Luffy becoming a pirate. And Garp also talks about the four emperors who rule the New World, which includes Shanks, Whitebeard, and two other mysterious figures. Janine, you briefly saw their silhouettes. You want to tell me what you think about these other two emperors? Let's do a far off prediction system.
Let's see here. I think that one of them is going to be someone we're going to see in like the next arc. Even
Mm-hmm.
if we don't know who they are, we're going to
Mm-hmm.
like know that they exist as a freaking warlord. At least that much.
Well, no, these
Because
are emperors, not warlords.
okay, sorry. It's hard to keep up because One Piece likes to introduce different hierarchies on how the world works,
Mm-hmm.
like pretty
So
frequently, and it kind of feels like it contradicts itself sometimes.
So there's the warlords. There are seven warlords that we've seen so far. Like Crocodile used to be a warlord. Doflamingo is a warlord. Kuma is a warlord. And they have an agreement with the government to basically do whatever they want, but also when the government calls on them, they have to show up. The emperors are another force, and they run these vast pirate empires, and they are unaffiliated, but they are kind of kept in check by the warlords and by the government.
It's hard to really envision without knowing exactly
Oh
who
yeah.
works for who, like how it's all set up because just saying an empire of pirates just kind of seems like a funny made up idea to me right now.
Hmm.
But that's One
Uh,
Piece.
Also, we aren't going to like see any of the warlords beyond Whitebeard and Shanks for quite a long while.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But guess what? One of them's a MILF.
Oh shit. Nice.
So Michael and Hoichel lead Zoro back to the base, and Garp is like, "Hey, I'm going to have you fight my two trainees," and they get quickly defeated. But they are revealed to be Kobe and Helmeppo, who had been training with Garp. Which, once again, thanks Netflix for spoiling their return. But I'm happy to see they're both doing well, and Kobe's testosterone has been paying off. Transition goals.
And also Helmeppo grew the hair out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy that I didn't have to just like see that silly hairdo because who would keep that? Honestly.
Yeah. Like, that is another sin of the Netflix series. They made Helmeppo too hot. They didn't need to make him hot, but they
I
did.
guess not.
So,
But giving
Garp.
a hot person a stupid haircut is funny though.
Mhm. Like, if Chris Hemsworth was wearing the berries and cream, like, curly wig,
Oh my god.
That's fucking hilarious.
That is. Oh.
Oh. So, Garp also mentions that Luffy had met his dad back in Town, which Luffy doesn't remember. But that was the person who saved him from Smoker. And his father is Monkey D. Dragon, who is a world famous revolutionary who everyone except for Luffy is familiar with. And Dragon has been fighting the world government and is labeled as the world's worst criminal. And then Garp realizes that he just shared some high grade secrets.
Based.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even have to be on War Thunder.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then remember how I was like, well, no, it would be funny if it turns out to be Homer. And that's why our Homer is Dragon.
Dragon,
It,
though.
uh-huh.
That's a hell of a name. And just the fucking. I don't know. Like, maybe the fact that, like, Luffy's name is Monkey D and then Luffy, like his family name, the fact that the D is in there, like, the fact nobody else made that connection. It's just he's so much himself that Luffy could not be anything of him.
I mean, Garp is a military man and his son is the world's greatest terrorist.
Yeah, and his grandson's gonna be king of the pirates.
Mm-hmm. How did that happen?
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum.
Thank you. But in the end, Garp decides not to arrest Luffy so they can all chill, and he lets Kobe and Helmeppo hang out with Luffy. And Kobe talks about how the marine ships can sail on the calm belt because the ships have sea prism stone on the bottom, which lets them go through the Grand Line, thanks to Dr. Vegapunk. That's going to be a name to memorize. Nami is taking notes on this and listening to the conversation. We find out that Vegapunk also developed the technique to feed devil fruit to inanimate objects and other things.
It's his fault.
Yeah. And you know what's fucking wild, Janine?
What's that?
We only reached Vegapunk in the manga like 2 years ago.
Holy shit! And we're hearing about him now.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
He is a very large stone because we have felt the ripples from here.
Mm-hmm. So, Kobe mentions the place they are headed to next after the Grand Line is the New World, and he promises to become a Marine Admiral so he will be strong enough to fight Luffy, and Luffy looks forward to it. And Kobe also talks about how the Straw Hats defeated the government and they're going to be facing a lot of consequences as a result. The Straw Hats and Soge King then meet up and have a party where they're joined by the Frankie family, the Galley Law Company, the Giants, and even Iceberg. And then, like, the entire town just kind of shows up for this party. And during it, Aokiji goes and talks to Robin in secret. And he's like, hey, why didn't you abandon them? I mean, I had to go and kill my friend Jaguar D. Saul. And he just tells her to kind of prove that Ohara is still alive and to kind of love her life with her friends, which is nice.
Yeah, but also icing your own friend in that moment is pretty cold.
Uh huh. You
Get it?
take a bottle of Smirnoff and you give it to your buddy, and they have to drink it.
Because he has ice powers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Bros Icing Bros. 2007.
Yeah, that's what you did.
Yes, before I could drink. That was how we were real. Also, we get a flashback of Bushan and Stevie who are heading to the party, and they still believe that Polly and Nami are in love, which I love those dudes. They're wrong, but I love those dudes.
Yeah, huh, they're doing fan fiction like in real life,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they kind of like just drew Nami and Polly like in their wedding attire. I personally, as a person who likes seeing characters in different outfits, loved that because that means I get to see what Nami would look like in a wedding dress for my own self.
I mean, you could go ask her.
She's just gonna ask for money instead. She's gonna say, how big's the rock?"
And you say, that's not the thing that is important to be big. It's love. It's love for
And the
you.
penis.
Sure. So we then cut to Marie Joie, the headquarters of the world government, where the news comes in that Shanks and Whitebeard are preparing to meet. And we see, like, as Shanks is approaching, weaker members of Whitebeard's crew start to faint due to his hockey. Hey, Janine, hockey is going to be a whole thing. You remember Mantora?
That fucking sea serpent thing?
No, the like
No, the
way that.
mantra thing that was Skypia, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was being able to fucking um
Read your opponent's moves.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to be finding more out about hockey later on, but it's part of it is Mantora. So like Shanks is a big enough badass that his vibe just knocks out weak people. And Whitebeard remembers how Buggy and Shanks had been part of Goldie Rogers' crew, and they split up after Rogers' execution. And Whitebeard asks about Shanks's arm, and he explains that he gave it up for the future, but he also got the new scar on his face from Blackbeard. It's all coming together, Janine.
Yeah.
And so Shanks asks Whitebeard to stop Ace from tracking down Blackbeard and to leave him alone, but because Blackbeard, who was a member of Whitebeard's crew, murdered another member, Whitebeard can't forgive him. And Shanks warns him that the arrow will spiral into chaos as they begin to clash as a storm brews above them. It's oh, it's coming, Janine. Everything is like coming to a head, and it's going to be like holy shit. Back on
Well,
water.
uh, um I gotta say right now that like not knowing too much of this and then just them having to show like what their power levels and like the kind of game they're at,
Mm-hmm.
they did a really good job of showing me that I ain't seen shit yet.
Yeah, it like Oda knows what he is doing, and it is so much more satisfying to do stuff this way than be like, oh well, on this chart we see the power level is this number, and this number isn't as high, but maybe we're wrong about the power level, which is a problem that a lot of shonen mangas have, where it's they tell instead of showing. Back
Yeah,
on.
I feel like that's gotten even worse with the idea of like the isekai anime that's like direct like RPG elements
Mm-hmm.
actually like gamify things and sometimes will even show like an anime character's levels and stats.
Mm-hmm. Which I think can be done well, but like Oda knows what he's doing here. Like the closest he got was those CP9 power levels, and really they weren't important.
Yeah.
So back on Water 7, the news came out about Innie's lobby, and the Frankie family weren't mentioned, and new bounties are expected to come out. Iceberg and the Galley Law Company, meanwhile, come out to help Frankie with finishing the new ship. And Nami goes to check on the rest of the money only to find out that Luffy spent most of the remaining 100 million berry on the party.
Based.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nami is right to be angry, but also at least she got to enjoy it.
And also, where the fuck did you think that they would like be able to pay for having meat that huge for the giants to eat?
Or for
Like that,
Luffy to eat.
yeah. I mean, all three of those guys have very, very large stomachs.
Yep. So as and like that's the end of the canon parts for now. We're going to get some more big moments, but now we get to talk about the filler. As Luffy and Chopper hang out, the people in town are overly grateful. Abi, who is looking for Albire, her missing Yagara bowl, asks Luffy for help. Albire went missing after the Aqua Laguna, and she offers up her piggy bank for Luffy's help, which he accepts. And after searching for a bit, they ask Robin for help, but she can't help them. And meanwhile, we get scenes of Usopp wondering about how he should return to rejoin the crew. Chopper shows up and talks to a Yagara who heard Albire, and they find a scrap of his scarf near the underground water passage. They ride into it and find a dry area to proceed on foot into the older part of the town, eventually stumbling into Sui village, where the Yagara go when they die, and they get swept up in the water. And as they begin to drown, Albire saves them, reveals that he died and is now a ghost, and he says goodbye. And then Abi finds a abandoned baby Yagura that Albire had worked to save, and she adopts it. And Abi gives Luffy the piggy bank like she promised, but he gives it back to her so she can raise the new baby Yagura. It's I feel like it's a bit out of character for Luffy.
It kind of is, but Luffy works in mysterious ways. He has
It
been shown to be kind to animals for sure,
mhm.
uh, more than children.
I feel like if she had fed Luffy or like shared food with him, I would accept it more.
I do feel like he didn't intend to take the treasure that she was offering in the first place and was just doing
Mhm.
that as an excuse to be like, "Yep, I'm just a pirate."
But it does feel like that part just kind of sticks in my craw, and we're going to be coming up onto a filler part that also has some weird characterizations of characters. In the second episode, Michael and Hoichael decide to adopt Zoro as their brother and try and help him to find a new cheap sword. The two of them are known miscreants, though, and when Zoro tries to ditch them, he eventually runs into their adoptive mom, aunt, and she introduces them to her other kids, and Zoro gets pulled into helping them clean. Aunt turns out just gathers scrap and sells it to the Gallet Law Company, and so while she's doing this, Zoro is forced to continue looking after all the babies. Moneylenders come in to collect money from Aunt and threatens her family, and Zoro kind of realizes that she is the person who takes care of the orphans of the city and chases off the debt collectors. He tries to get away from them, but the kids keep following him, and when he finally does escape, the debt collectors return to capture Aunt, and the loan shark has brought in Mikazuki, who had previously tried to get out of paying for the ship repairs that the Galley Law Company did for him as their muscle. And the kids step in to try and protect Aunt until Zoro appears and chases them off. And then he finally gets to say he just wanted to get back to his friends, and Aunt understands. But then she realizes she forgot to return a shirt to him, and so all of them chase after, and Zoro doesn't understand why they're following him. It's dumb fun we love to see our himbo put into situations that he's not ready for.
Yeah, like he falls into everything so well, and the fact that he's doing this all while wearing a very slutty crop top with that woman's face on it
Mm-hmm.
is just it's so good.
I had made a joke with a while back posting one of the images, and then I captioned it "raising Roranora, Roranoa," like as a raising Arizona joke, and a few people enjoyed that.
It's a very narrow line that would
Of people who are familiar with the Coen Brothers movies and One Piece,
yeah, it was that specific one too. Like that
I feel like Raising Arizona is like one of their movies people are likely to know because it's a comedy.
if they know Coen Brothers movies, like just out of the blue, just regular people.
Do you know Coen Brothers movies?
I know Coen Brothers movies, I know the reputation they have, I don't know all of them.
So, have you seen Raising Arizona?
I have, but just because it's a Nicolas Cage movie.
That's valid. I mean, it's a good one. It's a popular one for a reason. Nicolas Cage does a good job, though apparently he was kind of awful to work with because he was like, "Well, my family makes movies, and I think they do it this way."
Really? Like,
Hmm.
didn't he change his last name to Cage so he didn't have that recognition of the family?
Uh, I believe it was also there was another person with his birth name who was registered to the guild.
Still, there's a lot of ways you could be able to, like, shorten Nicholas.
Olus Cage.
Good old Nicky Cage.
So, the third one, Sanji tried to get some time with Nami and Robin, but he gets cock blocked by Chimney and Gonbei, who want to go and get food with him. And they got into a boat that was supposed to be amazing, but the chef is asleep and the previous customers are rude about the food. Sanji ends up using the kitchen instead, and Bon Bon, the chef, wakes up and explains that he trained Zeph and also dreamed of finding the All Blue. Sanji gives him alcohol as a thank you, for letting him use the kitchen, and so Bon Bon offers to cook for them. And while Bon Bon's age is getting to him, he prepares fried rice, which is amazing, and Sanji can't figure out why. And so he decides to try and figure out the secret and has some rice balls that Bon Bon made and realizes it is the salt that is made from Aqua Laguna's remainders. And so he asks for the secret, and Bon Bon has Sanji carry him up to the roofs where the salt dries onto the rooftops. Sanji collects large bags of the special salt and then promises that he will bring Bon Bon salt back from the All Blue, and Bon Bon reveals that he stays because he's horny for the women of the town. And as Sanji is heading back, he sees Usopp practicing how to come back to the crew, and then he prepares food for everyone else with the salt, and the crew is gracious. Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon, Super Bon Bon.
I really like this one. I think that it was,
Mm-hmm.
like, really cute that, Sanji was kind of, like, forced to be a gentleman to, like, a little girl. I think that when I saw that old man, just making that food, I was looking at it because, anime food is
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a topic of conversation, and looking at it, I was like, "Bitch, that's just fried rice." And then, like, when Sanji's just like, "Bitch, this is just fried rice." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I just said that." And, like, he takes a bite, like, "Oh, but it's really good." And I'm like, "How the fuck is just fried rice, dog?"
I mean, I've
Um,
had some really good fried rice.
I am maybe jealous of that because it's just fried rice. Do you go for like pink Himalayan salt or fucking Dead Sea salt or the idea that like there's different salts? Because it just tastes like salt to me.
There's a place nearby called Bento Go where it's like it used to be the building used to be a Wendy's, like a 90s ass Wendy's.
Oh yeah.
And since COVID, they don't open up the inside of it anymore. So it's just a drive through to get like Chinese, and they have a few Japanese offerings. And they do a pork fried rice that is like my go to. And I was
Mm.
never a big fried rice person before.
Well, they got the salt from the Aqua Laguna. They're really up to their game.
Hmm. If you're ever in Columbus, give Bento Go a try. But also, there's like actual Japanese markets and stuff. But
Also, if any of y'all listening cook, you gotta tell me, like, is there a difference with salts? Because, like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong if there is. I can accept it in One Piece because there's a lot of dumb stuff in One Piece I could be able to accept. The thing is that there are such thing as different salts in this world, and that frustrates me.
I mean, there are like different salts in the world. Like, if nothing else, there's iodized salt that is specifically formatted to contain iodine that we need for like healthy growth and stuff. Like the government figured out, oh, hey, this is the best way to make sure that people get the iodine that they need. We're going to add it. But there are like differences in salt in things like the coarseness and the grade, and sometimes where you get it from. Like you can pick up a flavor profile, but a lot of the times when you're dealing with like a standard table salt, it is going to be a genericized version of salt.
Send us your salts.
Super bon bon, super bon bon, super bon bon, super bon bon. All right. And Janine, are you ready to match some characters,
Sure.
games,
Yes.
tunes? All right. Well, I just sent a link via Google to my picks list, but I will also send that in Discord right now. And there we go. Nope, that's the wrong link. Oh no, that's the wrong. Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't. Oh, I just made a copy of my document. It's been a long day. I had Wendy's for dinner.
From a place that's really a Wendy's.
Mm-hmm. It's it it's not a good Wendy's.
Ooh.
A good Wendy's would support unionization efforts. All right. Now I successfully sent the link over to you. So we have 12 characters to match, and I feel like these first two are ones that we kind of want to run together, and that is Michael and Hoichael.
Michael and Hoichael.
Are you a Michael or a Hoichael?
I'm more of a Hoichael, I feel like.
You have a ruler in your backpack instead of a recorder?
Yeah, because I rule.
I have a recorder in my back so I can play hot cross buns. Hot cross buns, hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. I actually have some hot cross buns upstairs. Just coincidentally.
So let's
Uh,
talk about who you have for Michael and Hoichael.
1 a penny, 2 a penny. My Rodrigo styles are Billy Joe Armstrong and Trey Cool of the band Green Day. And my throwback pitches are Teen Lenny and Teen Carl. Janine, who you got?
Well, I went a different route. Um, my Rodrigo style was
Mhm.
Plopper and Harry Plopper. That's right, the same pig twice.
One pig, 2 times. Wonderful.
And then for my other suggestions,
Mhm.
I basically paired this with the other kids all together
Mhm.
inside of their thing as the Spuckler children
Mhm.
um, from when they had a band together.
Yeah,
And
which spucklers are you working with?
they're all from that one episode that we went on not too recently
Mhm.
when they went on a talent show together.
Mhm.
I just lost the page of what episode, but we can be able to look it up by their names. And that is W. Spuckler and Crystal Meth Spuckler.
Now, wasn't crystal meth? a girl's name.
It is, but also because of what we have done inside of the last episode, we broke the gender barrier.
Fair. So, I am looking over this and
Pere, 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 pere. Pere, 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 pere.
I am looking over and we have suggestions from two separate people. Uh, Edward E., who is the host and co founder of the One Piece podcast, suggested infamous perverts Eugene and Rusty.
Huh.
And King Atticus suggested Richard and Lewis.
Hmm.
So,
I like the perverts.
yeah,
That's a good one, man.
it is.
I
It
was
is.
looking at them for the last episode for like as suggestions too.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, for them to come back in this way.
Yeah, I had forgotten about Edward's suggestion between when it got set out on Blue Sky, and now it is like, oh no, that is a really good one. So I also kind of like Eugene and Rusty because the Spucklers, we're going to have a lot of opportunities for large families.
I mean, sure, but the thing is that there's no shortage of spucklers.
No, but I mean, you don't want to. I was going to say you don't want to blow crystal meth. Oh, but I'm good with Eugene and Rusty. I like that thinking.
Awesome. All right, let's lock it in, Eugene and Rusty.
Good suggestion, Edward E. Up next we have Thatch, who is the only other canonical character we have in here. Thatch is a character who briefly shows up. He is the person who Blackbeard killed, that Ace is seeking revenge for, so he exists more as an idea. Who do you have for Thatch?
As my Rodrigo style, I have the Diaper Genie,
Mm-hmm.
which was a role that President Schwarzenegger had played before. And I also had, as my other suggestion, Big Band Stew. Thatch gave me Disco Stew vibes, but I didn't want to like get Stew proper. And Big
Mm-hmm.
Band Stew kind of feels just as the same level of Riz to me.
Fair. So my two suggestions, my Rodrigo style is Tom Hanks. You want a charismatic person who can guide you through what is secretly going to be a major atrocity. You want to like trade on his name. And I mean, Thatch is going to have a lot riding on his name. And then I had Victor, who was a chef. And I was just looking for another chef. Thatch is a chef on Whitebeard's crew.
Well, I ain't seen him cook shit, so Big Band Stew is still viable to me.
I'm going to do a vibe check.
And he's definitely not cooking anything now.
You know what? I'm going to go with Big Band Stew.
Fuck yeah, I knew you would see it. I knew you would see it too.
I do not feel super strongly on most of my picks this week. Up next we had Abby, and my two suggestions, Uh, oh, okay. I did mix up posting two of them. I got my Rodrigo styles mixed up for Abi and Albire because they both begin with A's. Also, in the dub, they call Albire Bluefin because that's what Albire means. My
Oh,
two picks for Abi were Rodrigo Sayo, the new Grand Canyon commercial daughter, who's just very uninterested, but she has those weird side ponytails, kind of like Abby has. Or my throwback was Katie Anderson, who was on the American Idol type show,
right, right.
mm-hmm. and is a brunette. Who do you have?
I had as my Rodrigo style, Colin.
Interesting.
Because again, we broke the gender barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to find like the only other person that was like concerned about wildlife inside of the whole fucking movie. It just
Mm-hmm.
fit like a shoe at that point. And as my other suggestion, it's Nell Nicholson. She is a background character that only recently got named. I say recently, but it's been like 5 years, maybe. I think 5 years ago she's got named.
Fascinating. Have I seen the Oh, okay, yeah. I have seen that episode where she was named. Yeah, I was unfamiliar with her. She's not even like one of the ones who I think is super memorable as a background character. Like she kind of looks like a weird mix if like Mo and Lucy from Peanuts had a daughter.
Yeah.
um so can I sway you on new Grand Canyon commercial daughter to use those side ponytails? Because we won't remember her.
That's, I mean, a good enough reason as any.
And that's what the show is about sometimes. Last week it was like, oh, we're all going to have really big ideas and we're going to fight. This week it's just kind of like, we're tired. We then have Albire, aka Bluefin. Who you got for Albire?
I have as my Rodrigo style the kissing burro.
Ooh. You got a kiss from Bumblebee Man.
And as my other pick, I have a horse named Maurice from the Crepes of Wrath.
Janine.
Yes.
Maurice is a donkey.
Whatever the fuck. It just has like a similar kind of looking face to whatever the fuck this guy's got.
Yeah, Maurice was a donkey. He ate a red hat. Janine, I can't believe you mixed up a donkey and a horse.
I can mix up worse.
Fair. My Rodrigo style was the multi-eyed squirrel because I thought that would be kind of hilarious if they just had this very emotional tie to the multi-eyed squirrel. And then my throwback pick was Manatee Homer, where at the end of Bonfire of the Manatees, they dressed up a manatee like Homer. It had him work in the nuclear factory, and then Burns and Smithers had to help take care of him to the song Car Wash. Because also very similarly helpless, very similar eyes, and in a bad situation. And
Hmm.
aquatic creature.
You do have an aquatic creature, but both my picks are beasts of burden with weird faces and teeth.
You've never used a manatee to till a field?
Only a field of dreams.
Oh.
I don't know, man.
I mean, it's a
I
manatee
re- I
wearing a shirt,
I
Janine.
really like kissing Burro though. As a friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Guess what?
What?
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
All right.
Next we have Aunt. And my Rodrigo style was the medicine woman because she needed a lady with big floppy boobies. And
Yeah.
Aunt kind of has big floppy boobies, and also there weren't many other women in the Simpsons movie who were new characters. And then the other one I had Velma, who ran the diner in the Hit the Alligator and Run episode, where she's like, I like that.
Hmm.
She is a sassy redheaded broad. Who do you have for Aunt?
Well, for Aunt, I wanted to give my best for that. So Rodrigo style, of course. I also have Medicine Woman,
Mm-hmm.
so which already looks like it might do. But like, if I could, if
Mm-hmm.
you want to look up Blanche Auditioner number 3 from A Streetcar Named Marge, it's not just in what she looks like, it's because she's a larger, very attractive woman. It's also kind of what she's wearing that kind of just like
Uh-huh.
got me a little bit closer to it, you know?
Janine,
Yeah?
you know that we are friends and we trust each other to speak the truth.
Okay.
You got it. You got a good one.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Blanche Auditioner 3. I did not expect that one to come up, but good on you. We then have up next Yoko, who is a small girl and is one of Aunt's kids. Who do you have for Yoko? Specifically, Water 7 Yoko, because we're going to get other Yokos where we've had Yokos before. Yoko will continue until morale improves.
Okay. Well, um do you know that I've got so many Spuckler kids up on this bitch?
Mm-hmm.
So Whitney Spuckler is the Spuckler I chose for Yoko.
Mm-hmm.
But also my other pick followed what I had going on with Michael and Hoichael, and
Mm-hmm.
that is to use an animal that was introduced in the Simpsons movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Yoko, I have as mutant squirrel.
The multi-eyed squirrel. So my Yoko and my Yuya, the next one, my throwback pair was put together, but my Rodrigo style is the Kennedy Kid Itchy daughter. Like there's a scene where there's a itchy and scratchy cartoon at the beginning of the movie solely so they can make a joke about, I can't believe we're watching something you can see on TV in the movie theaters. And so there's a bit where Itchy has left Scratchy on the moon dead, and we just see him trying to figure out what to do so no one finds out about the moon murder. And he just has a boy and a girl daughter in a scene reminiscent of a famous Kennedy photo. And so I had the daughter there. The other pick that I had was Girl Tyler from the third grade, when Bart and Lisa are both in the third grade, because my Yuya pick is Boy Tyler from the third grade, because Yoko and Yuya are kind of similar names. And they have kind of similar vibes.
Yeah, I can see that.
So could I ask you for your Yuya pitches before you make a choice?
For Yuya, I
Mm-hmm.
have incest spuckler as the spuckler I used for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And for the animal, I kind of ran out of animals pretty fast. So
Yeah.
I do have Symbol Monkey. You know, the brain one inside of Homer's mind.
Okay. The other pick that I had was the new Grand Canyon commercial Sun, but I really want to push for Girl Tyler and Boy Tyler. And I will even throw you a, well, gender means nothing. We can use Tyler Boy for Yoko and Tyler Girl for Yuya if you want.
Yeah, let's trans the narrative here.
Hell yeah. So that is Yoko and Yuya. We then have Sho, who is shy. And I had the Kennedy Kid Itchy son here. I also had Huck Finn Millhouse.
Hmm.
And just because I forgot that that existed, and that kind of goes with two other pitches that I have. Who do you have for Show?
For show, I have International Harvester Spuckler as my
Mhm,
Spuckler.
mhm.
Now for the animal, might get this one. Little Fox.
Little Fox is very adorable.
Really think about Little Fox this time. I mean, kind of fits a little bit better than Millhouse. You got to admit that part.
Yeah, yeah. Let's use Little Fox. I will give a fox. We then have Ayako. Who do you have for Ayako? Who is
Ayako,
another boy? Hmm.
I have as Jitney Spuckler.
Hmm.
And as for the animal, I have the Alaskan deer that had to get its eyes covered when Homer and Marge started getting it on.
Well, my Rodrigo style is Colin, and my throwback is Tom Sawyer Bart. Do we want to burn Colin on this small child who we will forget about?
I feel like I will need a small child that cares about the environment or animals in the future.
Then my Ayaka also ties into my next pick for Akihiro. I would like to hold on to the Alaskan deer and also the Spuckler child.
Those are amazing statements that we get to have in safe
Hmm.
context here.
And we can only keep making those statements if you're willing to pledge to this PBS fund drive. What? No, no, this to this DohMance Don. No, it's a Patreon under my name. Yeah. If you send me $20, I will send you one of the grocery totes that I have.
It's a grocery tote. Is
Uh
it
huh.
branded by us? Probably
No,
most likely not. Like Luke might have written his name on it if he
I
really
could.
thought he could lose it.
No, I mean, I just leave so many of them in my car now. But Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer. Today's Tom Sawyer?
Mean, mean stride.
Well, I did peek a little bit further, and seeing what you have paired with it for Akihiro, I'm a
Hmm.
little bit tempted.
Give in to the temptation, Janine.
Sure. We both know that the next battle of Bon is going to be the one
The
that has,
decisive one.
yeah.
Hmm. So for Akihiro, my Rodrigo style is Mike Dirt from Green Day, or my other pick was Nelson as Huckleberry Finn because Akihiro's a thick lad.
Yeah. And to be honest, I do kind of get like a little bit of Nelson vibe from Akihiro just looking at him.
Yeah, like even if they have no lines, it's. I think I had worked back from Nelson and was kind of like, oh yeah, okay. Who do you have for Akihiro?
Akihiro, I had as I ran out of animals really fast, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of animals I don't want to use on these kids.
Oh, like Gangster Walrus.
And I kind of ran out of spucklers too. So Akihiro, I gave him the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So for the spucklers, I have Birthday Spuckler.
Mm-hmm.
Not the most flattering spuckler to be paired up with.
I honestly don't. Oh yeah, potatoes bag Spuckler.
And for
The animal.
I have the bomb disarming robot. Kind of a dark bit, but hilarious. Like it did shock me for a second, but I just like I couldn't help but laugh because it's just out of nowhere. And the follow-up
So,
joke on it was it's just good black comedy.
mhm. So I feel like we're going Huckleberry Finn then. That's
Yeah,
my Huckleberry.
definitely.
And then last we have Bon Bon.
The
Who do
real
you have
fight.
for Bon? Uh huh. Uh huh. Who do you have for Bon Bon? Who is your
Oh,
Rodrigo?
well, I'm gonna start with my other suggestion,
Uh huh. Uh
and
huh.
that's Wolfgang Puck.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gotta find a chef, and I was surprised to find we hadn't used him yet. But my Rodrigo style, I'm very attached to. I feel like this one I had a particular vibe. Like it doesn't match up, but it also I feel like it could potentially match up. You're just one really bad Aqua Laguna away from this happening, but I am saying Emperor of Springfield Mo. Could you imagine this little guy is the Emperor of Springfield of Mo? Like that's
So my Rodrigo was the Itchy Lincoln. I think it's just a beautiful view of this tired fucking looking mouse with a stove top hat. And then my other pick was Mr. Ty, who hires Bart to be the menu delivery man in a Matrix parody. Hmm. Hmm.
do you want to look up what the Emperor of Springfield looks like?
Janine, I was the person who added the specific note for Emperor of Springfield Mo. That was not on either the Wiki of Simpsons or Simpsons Wiki. Because I knew that was something that I could put out there that we could use for the future. And I have some good news for you, my friend.
Yeah.
Jesus resurrected on Sunday morning, and that is the miracle of Easter. But I also have some good news that yeah, I'm good to use Emperor of Springfield Mo.
Hell yeah.
All right, so our Michael is Eugene, our Hoichael is Rusty, our Thatch is Big Band Stew, our Abby is New Grand Canyon Commercial Daughter, our Albire is the Kissing Burro, our Aunt is Blanche Auditioner 3, our Yoko is Tyler the Boy, our Yuya is Tyler the Girl, our Show is Little Fox, our Ayako is Tom Sawyer, our Akihiro is Huckleberry Finn, and our Bon Bon is Emperor of Springfield Mo. Hell yeah. I love that somehow this episode took longer than our 50th episode. But I feel like we didn't have all that. No, we had somewhat fewer characters, but we had more to deal with this episode somehow.
We had more
somehow.
opinions, is I think
Hmm.
what's up.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode. DohMance Dawn updates every other week, and we've got some stuff coming up next time that I don't think Janine is going to be ready for. Janine, do you think you're going to be ready for next time?
I have no idea what to expect. And at this point, even trying to guess is a fool's errand.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Uh yeah, like I said, DohMance Dawn updates every other week. Find us on your podcatcher or YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where you can just watch the videos there and see our sound forms and leave comments, or leave us a rating on the podcatcher of your choice. Leave us a review if you enjoy the show. Tell your friends about us. Share the weird covers that we are getting Mike Patton to do. Mike Patton is America's favorite One Piece Simpsons draw boy. I'm not afraid to say that. Janine, where can you be found online?
You can
And are you
find.
doing any other podcasts currently?
God, thanks for reminding me because I keep on forgetting. Yes, you can be able to find me also on Wrestle Girlies. That is where me and my really good friend Flighty and I sit down and talk about wrestling and just the things that we like. Um, I don't know how to describe it, dog, but if you hear the words "wrestle girlies" and that clicks for you, then it's for you. And if that sounds completely alien to you, maybe keep moving, dog. I don't know. Um, you can also find me on Twitter somehow. At Janine Juliet. I'm also on Blue Sky. Give me more reason to go there. That's JanineJuliet.bisky.social. You'd also be able to find whenever I decide to post up my selfies on Instagram at Janine is dope over on Instagram. I said Instagram at the beginning and ending of that. That's kind of where I am right now as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where do they find you online, Luke?
Oh, thank you for passing it off on to me. You can find me most places as at Coltreg. That's Koltreg. You can see me trying to give advice to people who are trying to make comics on Reddit. If you want, don't follow me on Reddit. Why are you on Reddit? I'm on Reddit because I I've got problems. But you can also find me there on Blue Sky as Coltreg Koltreg. You can also go to my itch page, coltreg.itch.io, and you can buy comics that I've written, or you can just download some of them for free. I mean, money is good, but if you really want to give me money, there's a Patreon under my actual name, Luke Herr, Lukeherr, where you can get these episodes as soon as I'm done editing them, sometimes before Mike has even sent in a cover. And occasionally I will share other things that I'm doing there, like movie scripts and stuff. If you enjoy the show, we have a Discord that is moderately well and active. Like, it's not one of those where you feel a need to, like, oh, there's so many posts, I can't be part of it. No, you can be part of a community. You can share Simpsons memes. You can see the one image that I keep posting over and over without context.
Premium content.
Premium content. And that is also one of the two places where you can go and leave suggestions for open characters. Next week, we've only got two characters, so I'm not going to uh, ask our guest to make his picks, but, or I'm not going to ask the winner of this week to make their picks, but, yeah. Follow us on Blue Sky. That's also where you can see those, because I don't want to use Twitter anymore because Elon Musk is a horrible person, and the things that he has done to every aspect of American life make me not want to support anything that he has a hand in. So, with that said, we will be back in 2 more weeks when we get to see some new bounties. We get to catch up on some old friends, and we have a momentous fight that will forever change the course of One Piece. Catch you then, dog. Smooth sailing. I feel like I didn't use the...
A person who's very turned on by
Oh
middle-aged
my
women.
god.
Every time!